Hi everybody, Alex Deploy here, and we are at the most interesting part of the Zero to Hero robot trading course. We are going to be taking our portfolio of trading robots and either putting some of them in a rubbish bin or taking some of them to the hospital. Now, just to give you a perspective of where we are, we started setting up a broker account and platform. We created high quality test data. We selected a robot to test. We created a optimization template. We optimized the robot. We found the best settings from that robot. We created a live trading plan from all the settings that we had tested. We set up forward trading platforms and activated the settings on those platform, and we are now in the process of monitoring and managing the forward trading, the most important section. So just to give you another perspective of where we are here, we have fed those exceptional settings that we got from our selection process. We sent the best settings into our demo portfolio. That's where we are right now, and the only outcomes that can come now is that the best settings can go into the live account. That only happens after about 2 or 3 weeks of testing. There are some that can go directly into the dustbin, and there are some that are failing or battling, and they can go to the hospital, get fixed there, and then fed back into the demo account. Also, on an ongoing basis, we're going to be feeding in more settings into this demo account portfolio. So there's our 16 demo accounts trading away. There they are. To make it easy, we have linked all these accounts to FX Blue and created a portfolio. And here it is. Here's our testing. There's our 16 accounts. There's our links to FX Blue, and we have created portfolios, a total portfolio, and we have also created a reverse direction portfolio. As you can see, every second EA is a reverse one, because we want to see whether the reverse strategy is working well or the same direction strategy, which is another portfolio that we have down here. If I click on the all portfolio, which will be a portfolio of all the 16 current trading accounts, let's see what we come up with. And here is the portfolio. It has been going for just over a week, most probably about 7 or 8 days, and it has been running quite nicely. Happy with the results so far. There are 2 sets of accounts that are not doing well. The first set here, you can see, has actually blown. All of these accounts started with $10,000, and that account was blown, and that is an example of a set of accounts that will go straight into the rubbish bin. And when I say straight, firstly we'll need to analyze what went wrong very carefully, and that's going to be the subject of this particular section. But then there's another set here that's not doing too well. You can see from the equity, if it's below 10,000, then it is actually not doing well, and both of these combined aren't doing well. So, but they are not doing so badly that they need to go into the rubbish bin. So what we're going to do is I'm going to be transferring this into the hospital, and we're going to fix it in the hospital and send it back to the trading portfolio. So that's where we are. The others are doing pretty well. I read them in sets. So that set is doing well, that set's doing well, that set's doing well, that set's doing exceptionally well. And that's part of the reason why we do this trading, is to find the winners and the losers. You can see that's a winning one. That one's losing slightly, but not too badly, and that one's doing very nicely. So it's these 2 are our problem children, and let's go on and see what we're going to do about them. So the actions that we follow now, and it is a little bit early. What has come out of the portfolio so far is has enough relevance to move into the next phase, which is to analyze the blown accounts in detail and make improvements. Now I'll show you how that happens. I'm going to go take those accounts and actually analyze them in front of you to show you what happens. Then we're going to move those blown accounts into the rubbish bin portfolio. In other words, we'll create a portfolio called the rubbish bin, and we'll put it in there. And the reason is I want them to continue trading, because some of these blown accounts, so-called blown accounts, actually have potential to recover. Then the big thing is I'm going to replace the blown accounts with improved settings. So the blown accounts that we move into the rubbish bin will be replaced by the same currency, the same EA but with slightly different settings based on what we've learned from the blown accounts. Very important. This is such an important step that people just do not follow. Then we're going to go to the battling accounts, and we're going to move them into the hospital. When they're in the hospital, we're going to analyze them in detail and make improvements on those. We're going to leave the battling ones in the hospital, and we are going to then replace the battling accounts with the improved settings that we have come up with from this analysis. And then over time this month in May, I'm going to be adding plus minus 8 new strategies to the demo portfolio. Now, that all of this might sound a bit confusing, especially if you haven't followed the course up until now and watched all the videos, but certainly I do encourage you to do the Zero to Hero robot trading course so that you can be up to date with what is happening here. So what will this look like at the end? So in the end, we're going to have 2 accounts in the hospital being fixed up, and we're going to replace those accounts in the demo account. Then we're going to have 2 in the dustbin, and I'm not quite sure what's going to happen. We'll leave them there, and if they really go bad, we'll just take them out of the dustbin, empty the dustbin. We have no accounts that we can feed into our live account portfolio because we haven't tested long enough. We need to test for at least 3 to 5 weeks. So there's no accounts in our live portfolio yet. Once we have our 2 dustbin accounts replaced and our 2 hospital accounts replaced, we will have 16 accounts running in the demo portfolio. What I'm also planning later on is to add another 8, so that once that 8 added, that will push the demo portfolio to about 24 accounts. And that's what you've got to do, because this is a shifting process. You've got to filter. When you do your optimization, you've got to filter the best settings, and then once you've selected the best settings, that filters into the demo account, and the demo account creates a filter where you're only using proven traded results to filter only the best settings into your live account. So that's where we are at the moment. So let's move on to the first point: analyze the blown accounts in detail and make some improvements. So first, before we even do that, let's just think about what are the potential reasons for failure. And position sizing is probably number 1 in terms of our support desk, where people are battling to succeed with robot trading, and the first thing we find, their accounts are too small and they're using way too big position sizing. So position sizing is the number 1 factor, and in fact with failed accounts, all you have to do is position size by a tenth. So in other words, instead of trading 1 lot, you trade 0.1 lot, and that will normally resolve a lot of problems. Then the other reason for failure is aggressive entry criteria and settings. So we review the entry criteria and the settings, the aggressive open trade management, how you manage your open trades, again a factor to look at. Aggressive exit criteria, are you exiting too early, are you exiting too soon, that type of thing. Really basic logical questions. Then poor trading logic. Is the trading logic pointing the trades in the wrong direction or doing that type of thing? So again, lots of it is visual. Poor instrument selection. In other words, are you trading the wrong robot in the wrong market conditions at the wrong time? There's a lot of trending currencies at the moment. You should be using the trending robots to trade in this kind of environment. So instrument selection is a big factor. Too many transactions also. If you're allowing too many transactions to happen, it will eat into your margins. It will result in more difficult management situation. As I mentioned earlier, your account balance could be too small. A lot of people come into Forex trading with very little money, and it is an investment process. So you can't invest without money, and a lot of them come in with about $200 and try and make a success of robot trading. In general, that causes a number of problems because the position sizing then tends to be incorrect relative to the account size. So account size is one of the major factors. And then using the wrong robot, I spoke about instrument there. I'm going to just turn them around. An instrument is trading, for instance, gold when you should be learning to trade a robot using the currencies. Gold and the indexes, I must warn you, are very complex instruments, and their risk profile is much higher than Forex trading. So you learn to trade Forex before you jump into the more advanced areas. And then there are lots of other areas, but those are the major ones we'll look at. So how are we going to find these improvements? And this is the crux of the course, because this involves skill development, and it is possibly a skill that very few traders have, and that is why this course is so important. We're going to use the actual charts to find trading errors or trading mistakes and things like that. You can immediately see if a transaction is entering too fast, too late, too soon, if it's exiting too fast or too late or too soon, if the direction is wrong. These things are just so obvious when you look at the chart. So number one tool that we're going to be using is looking at the actual charts to see what went wrong. Why are accounts being blown? Why are accounts needing to go to the hospital? Then we are going to look at back trading and optimizing the traded period. So if the trading period was 7 days, that's what we're going to do. We're going to actually optimize those 7 days to see which settings would have resulted in better results, possibly not profitable results, but better, smaller losses or better results. So that is a learning process. We're not going to take those settings or those results as gospel, but we are going to learn from them to see what we could have done to have reduced our losses or improved our performance. So that's technique number two. Then we're going to look at the unused or different settings. Now, sometimes when we trade, we use a certain set of settings, and there might be other settings that are more advantageous and that are not even used. And I just think of off the top of my head things like trailing stops and things like that often are not used, and we can start activating them and seeing if they provide better protection from losses. And then the last thing is to use your trading experience, logic, and knowledge. Now, our help desk, for instance, they have over 20 years of experience. So when somebody comes with a problem, they can isolate and find out what the problem is very quickly, because they have huge trading experience and they have logic and knowledge. The whole point of the Zero to Hero course is to develop that kind of skill and knowledge by doing the process that we're going to go through in this particular area. This particular area is the one area in robot trading where it is pretty clear the traders that fail do not get through this approach. So this video has already gone a good length, and this has been an introduction to using the rubbish bin and the hospital portfolio to create winning robot results. In the next video, I'm going to actually show you how I take that portfolio that I'm trading right now and make those improvements and analyze why those strategies have failed in the very first week of trading. And that's how you learn how the robot wants to be traded, how the market wants to be traded, and find out how to risk control your robot trading. So from me, Alex Employer, let's move on to the next video in this series. Cheerio.